Welcome to another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous, coming to you 6 days a week as we interview whitetail experts and hear their traditions and personal stories of the hunt. Learn more about the latest gear, discover proven tips, and the latest strategies so you can make your next hunt a success. Now, here's your host, Bruce Hutchin.
Good morning, folks. This is Bruce Hutchin, and it is very cold. I'm heading out to Maine today, and Erin Merrill is in Central Maine. And how cold is it in Central Maine right now?
It was about 1 degree when I came in this morning.
So it's 1 degree. That's cold. Mm-hmm. And then in Colorado, where I'm at, it's 10 above. And then I have a friend, Meadow Caulfield, which we're going to have an announcement soon with her. And I think it's 15 or 20 below. So everything closed in Minnesota. So folks, Erin and I are going to talk about a strong cup of coffee, which we both need. I'm actually a tea drinker. I don't know. Erin, what do you like?
I'm a big coffee drinker.
And so we're going to be sipping our tea and drinking our coffee. But Merrill is a prolific blogger. I came across her in Instagram and wanted to get her on. One, because she has a voice. She found a voice. And let's just start off right there, because you said something to warm up that is so meaningful and about finding your voice.
I think that for hunters, for outdoors women, being able to be confident and knowing that you have every right to be at the table the way that everybody else does helps you sort of find your voice and be able to convey how passionate you are about the things that you're doing and why it matters. Other people get interested in it if they know that you're interested in it. And so being able to be proud of your experiences and wanting to share those with other people.
Now, a lot of people see the table means that you're involved in conservation, you're involved in different groups, but you're involved really with the blog. And how did that get started?
I was interviewed by another outdoorsman 10 years ago, and he wanted to talk about women in the outdoors. And I had some stories. But it was one of those, oh no, I'm going to have to do this interview and people aren't going to know where to find me. And so I started the blog and frantically put up a whole bunch of posts about all the photos, all the outdoor activities that I'd been doing. And then it just sort of exploded from there. So this is my 10th year writing for And a Strong Cup of Coffee.
That's amazing. Now, are you monetized? Do you have people supporting you?
Nope, just me writing it because I love it.
So it's a labor of love.
Mm-hmm. It is.
How many viewers do you have on a per day basis?
400 to 500.
So you got a good, strong following then.
Mm-hmm. I do.
Now, is that dispersed throughout the country or is it just localized there in Maine?
No, it's pretty widespread. It's kind of cool to go in and look at the analytics every once in a while.
Well, yeah, it really is, because you certainly do have a voice and you're very passionate about the hunting tradition. How did that get passed down to you?
I grew up with a dad who was a passionate outdoorsman. He's a big deer hunter. And it was not uncommon to get home from school, open the refrigerator, and see a heart floating in water. And somehow, when I was 20 years old, I decided I wanted to go with him. And he let me. And I was the loudest thing in the woods. I think I snapped every branch. I crumpled every single leaf. But the first time I saw him shoot a deer, I was hooked. I had rattled it in, given myself a blood blister because I was so dedicated to the cause. And he asked me if I wanted him to shoot it. And I said yes. And seeing that deer, knowing that it was going to be feeding our whole family, and seeing that you could do that with one shot, one kill, food for the year, I was hooked. And I wanted to do it. And I wanted to do it all the time. And I wanted to just dive in full force.
Wow. I'm just thinking, your first hunt, you're 20 years old, so you're a mature adult. Mm-hmm. And you said, I want to go with you. And then you rattled it in. What kind of rattling sequence were you doing? Or are you just banging horns?
I was just winging it. I had no idea what I was doing.
What time of year was it?
Our rifle season starts the last Saturday of October. So it was somewhere end of October, early November.
Okay. So the deer in Maine, I'm assuming they were in a rut.
Getting there. Yep. Yep.
So it was just cranking up then?
Yeah.
Okay. Because one thing that I found personal and been told by other people is that pre-rut is a good time to rattle because they're kind of the pecking order and they're hearing deer get rambunctious in the woods. They're going to come over because they're inquisitive. They're very, very social animals.
Right.
People don't realize that, but they really are. And so they come over and, hey, what's going on? Who's tussling? It's kind of like schoolyard bullies. You know what happens? A couple of kids go after it, and all of a sudden there's a whole circle of friends or other kids looking, oh, look, they're going for it.
Yeah. And it was a little crotch horn. I mean, it wasn't this big bruiser of a deer, but
it doesn't matter.
It was the best thing ever. Right.
Every single animal, we told the story about my first hunt. Every single animal that I've ever taken is a trophy.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, every single animal, from the smallest to the biggest. Same with the fish I've caught. Some of the best trout fishing I've had are for little 6-inch brookies.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you just, on those little creeks in New England and stuff, and I can remember doing that as a kid, just going out and catching a mess of brook trout and bringing them home and eating them.
Oh, yeah. That's the best part.
Boy, yeah. And they taste so good. But,
yes,
you're talking a 6-inch fish. I mean, offshore, they're not even bait size.
Right.
They're not. I mean, a good mess of brookies. And
can't beat it.
No, and it's all good. I'm kind of salivating right now thinking about that. It's springtime and the turkeys are clucking or putting or purring and doing all the things that they do. And then you're messing it up with brook trout. There's some magic times there. Let's talk about some of those magic times for you. I mean, you've been in the wilds of Maine. Let's go down memory lane a little bit. And as I was just reminiscing about some of the special moments you've had in the woods.
Yeah. So obviously my first deer, I was with my dad and we had built a tree stand. And so we were hunting from that stand. I had only shot a gun twice, and my mom was telling me that I was going to be shot out of the back of the tree stand because of the kick from the rifle. I was excited, but I was also cautious. And I had a little spike horn come in, and I got super excited sitting next to my dad. And when I shot it, I had to ask him if I'd hit it, even though I saw its foot jerk back. And it was a perfect shot placement, and I had the time to be able to make that shot. And Dad was super excited and, puffed out his chest. And then I was done. I mean, at that point, it was just throwing money because, I wanted to do this all the time. I wanted to buy the gear. I wanted to just immerse my mounted. And so they're hanging in my office because it was the very first deer that I got. So I always sort of look at those with the other trophies that I have and think back to that morning in November.
That had to be special. And then if somebody hasn't done this, I know you reach out to women and want to empower women. How do you share that feeling with them or just that desire? How do you do that?
I have been going to speak to a lot of different groups and just sort of talking about conservation, talking about becoming an outdoor woman. How do you get connected through? I mean, social media is fantastic because you can get connected with fly fishermen in your area or turkey hunters in your area. You can go as broad as you want, or you can go as narrow as you want to find a group to connect with. I created a nonprofit called Women of the Maine Outdoors, and we actually provide scholarships to girls and women who want to go take outdoor education classes that have a cost associated with them. So we'll help defer some of that cost so that women can get out and experience more, learn more, and hopefully get really connected with other people that share their passion and want to maybe go with them. Maybe it's a future hunting buddy. We're doing as many things as we can to break down any sort of barriers to get girls and women outside.
So what's the number one question women come up to you after a speech? What do they ask you?
They're interested in trapping, and they're interested in how do they learn more. So, okay, you're interested. What's the next step? I usually send them to our Department of Inland Fisheries and Wildlife does a Becoming an Outdoor Woman program, the BOW program. And it's a fantastic introductory program for women who want to learn a little bit and see if they really like hunting or if they really like fishing. And usually they're anywhere from a day to a full weekend for the classes. And it just sort of gives them a little smorgasbord of opportunities in the outdoors.
So you're able to get the ladies to the right place. And if you're listening to this, ladies, in any state in the United States right now, you can go to the DOW, DNR, and ask them, say, I want to learn this sport. And you're going to find somebody that's going to be able to help you, because there are courses for you. Obviously, you need a hunting safety card if you're going to go hunting. A lot of states now have an archery proficiency test or card. So there's things that you need to do. But the biggest thing, and Erin just said it, is that you get on social media and say, hey, I want to do this. I know there's a lot of forums for women, girls with guns.
Yes.
Shoot like a girl. Just a couple off the top of my head. Get in touch with somebody in your area and say, hey, I'd like to go have a cup of coffee and talk about hunting. Because hunting is for everybody and are the fastest growing segment in the outdoor sports. That's all sports. I just had a friend that climbed the 14er. They didn't quite get to the top, but just last weekend in really brutal weather, but she and other friends climbed it. Why not? It's a good winter outing if you have the right gear. Now, mountaineering is dangerous. It can kill you. But if you have the right gear, then you're going to be fine. You're going to be absolutely fine. So the adventure is out there, and you hear these stories, and I like what Erin said. She was hooked from the beginning, and she realized that she could go out and do this. And you don't have to be a triathlete. You don't have to be somebody that you see on Instagram that are pumping iron, are unbelievable physical specimens.
Right.
Most of us will never get there. And the people that do are just unbelievable and dedicated to it.
Yes.
But having said that, I've never been an exceptional athlete in the outdoors, but I've never backed down from a hunt. I don't think Erin has either. You just, in mountaineering, you learn really quickly. It's step by step. That's basically it.
Yeah.
And you just keep doing it till you summit.
Right. Right. And know that you can do it. Have the confidence that you have every right to be there.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I was reading something the other day about a book by David Baldacci, and it's a good book. And the central figure is an FBI woman agent, and she just missed the Olympic team by 1 kilo, 2.2 pounds. And because her mental process, she could do it physically, but mentally she couldn't get the technique down to do the snatch. I'm thinking it was a snatch. And she said, it wasn't the physical part that beat her. It was the mental.
Yeah.
How important in hunting is the mental process?
I think it's huge. So much of it goes into you having the confidence to make that shot placement, either with a bow or your rifle. You knowing your own limits, so that if it is 1 degree, are you going to go out? Are you not going to go out? You don't want to put yourself in a bad situation. And so I think having the confidence, having the mental stamina. I've hunted in 4-degree weather, and I also have a heater in my stand. And so, I'll huddle over that thing and just keep walking or keep looking for anything walking by. But I think, you need to know what shots you can take and what shots you're comfortable with, so that you're not making a bad one and you're not rushing to try to get off a shot that is not ethical. For me, I know that I need to sit in a tree stand. I've been on the ground and I've watched deer run right past me because I'm not quick enough to be able to have my brain go, there's a deer, lift up my rifle, put the sights on it, and be able to shoot. If I'm in a stand, I can have that 10-second freak out, and then I can make sure that I have my shot where I need it to be and make it count. Same thing with bear hunting. I want to make sure that when I squeeze the trigger, I just need to do it once. So being mentally prepared for that, I think, is huge.
So let's go back to what you just said about ground hunting, because recently I had an accident. So I'm not really confident above the ground anymore, 20 feet up in a tree stand. I'm not. So last year I was up in a tree stand, I think twice, and it didn't work out so well. So I hunted completely from the ground. And I had one of my best seasons ever. I had deer within 10 feet of me.
Awesome.
And I hunt with a crossbow, and I'm thinking, how do I shoot it? Because I can't move. I mean, they got me so pegged. I mean, when they're that close, they know I'm there. They just don't know what I am because of scent control and everything was set up correctly. And it's very hard. But I think back to Native Americans, the people that first hunted deer, they didn't have tree stand. It was either spot and stalk or it was on the ground, and they waited till the deer walked by within feet. They shot out with arrowheads, but the stone that was made out of in New England, but I couldn't do it.
My dad spot and stalks. My dad would go stir crazy sitting in a stand. So he's constantly walking. That's how he shot all of his deer, I think. It's just, for the most part, spot and stalk.
Now, you're thinking of Benoit brothers.
At least not yet.
Did you ever meet the Benoit brothers?
No, I didn't.
Or have them talk?
No, our sort of local celebrity is Hal Blood. He goes up in the big woods in Jackman, and he does that. He'll stalk a deer for a full day in the big woods.
Now, help people understand the big woods of Maine. What does that mean?
It's the endless wilderness. A lot of logging. It borders the Canadian border. And so when you're going into the woods, you're not really going to run into anyone else. If you're out there, you are out there. And you might come across deer that have never seen a human before, because it's sort of the wilds of Maine.
Now, there's something called the Aliquash in Maine. Is that also?
The Allagash?
Allagash?
Yes.
Is that big woods?
That's way up there. I don't know if I'd necessarily call it that. It's kind of swampy. It has yes, there are big woods, and there's not. If you look at a map of Maine, all through like Jackman up to the Allagash, there's not a whole lot of roads. So there's maybe some logging roads, but that's not heavily populated. Not that Maine is, but this is definitely not.
Maine's not get away from the coast, and you get away from close to Massachusetts or New Hampshire. I'm just trying to think. My map's all fuzzy, but what's the biggest city in Maine? Is that Portland?
Yes. Portland, and then Bangor and Augusta.
So most of the people are in those areas.
Yeah, most of the people live within an hour of the coast.
Amazing. So here you are. You're hunting whitetails, and you do it from a tree stand. How do you pick your tree stand?
Based on where we see a lot of deer sign and where we know they're crossing, either a stream or a food to bedding area. And then we will build them and put them up.
You build them. So are you back to plywood and 2x4s?
Yes, we are.
Oh, no.
They're pretty heavy duty.
I'm sure they are. I hunt a farm that I built stands in 1966. I won't hunt those. They're down because we have I'm too old to get up into wooden ladder stand.
Right. No, that's what we use. And we're replacing one of them this year. So
as ladder stand, right?
Yeah, the old school wooden ladder stand and all of that. I mean, it's all enclosed. It's nice. We put shingles on the roof, but
so it's a box then. It's
a box.
It's not just a wooden ladder stand. It's a box stand.
Right. No, they're big boxes. Help keep out the wind and the rain and the snow.
Because it does get cold during the hunting season, right?
Oh, yeah. We might wake up and it's 4 degrees with a high of 15 or 20. This year I hunted in sleet, freezing rain, snow squalls, sunny. I mean, everything. You have no idea what it could be 1 week to the next.
Now, do you have wooden heaters? Do you have potbelly stove wooden heaters?
No, I just have a little buddy heater that I put.
Little buddies are great, but I have seen box stand wooden
with the natural heater.
With a natural heater. So the guy's sitting in there and he's toasty and warm, and the smoke's curling out of the chimney, and they still kill deer. What's up with that?
I don't know. I would love that.
No, but think about that. People say smoke and stuff. That deer knows you're there. Well, deer know that you're in the stand anyway. They really do. And it's just how comfortable they are and how secure they feel, and whether or not you make a lot of noise or whatever. But I know people that literally sit in box stands with a potbelly stove going, a small out west, the little camp stove in a box, and wood heat, and that's part of their choice. They put a pile of wood for the season, and then when they go up to the ladder, they grab a couple of things of wood.
God, I would be afraid that the porcupines or the squirrels or any of that would get up in there and gnaw on all the wood. That's one of the issues that we have.
Can't you screen them in or something so they can't get in?
Well, yeah, we'll see. We haven't yet. It's one of our issues that we need to take care of. Like, how do we critter proof it and still let me be able to get up in there and make a good shot?
Yeah, because it is a problem. That's why I know guys that leave their bows strung crossbows, everything in their tree stand or their box blind. And I go, what if a critter came in here and just snapped that? I mean, the critter would die, but you don't have a bow to shoot in the morning because you just blew it up. It's not funny, actually.
Well, it is when it's not me.
Yeah. But you think about that. Are your blinds, you have them insulated and carpet on the floor and all that good stuff?
There's carpet on the floor. We have some canvas around me. So they're pretty nice.
Well, good. Now, you mentioned before that you're a mom and you have a very understanding husband. Okay, husbands, listen to this. Okay, a very understanding husband. Typically, it's very understanding wives, but Erin has a very understanding husband. How did all that work out?
So he deer hunts, and he didn't really get into it much until we got together. So he still comes out and goes deer hunting, and my wonderful mom will watch the kids. But usually he'll end up tagging out first, which then he stays home with our kids, and I keep hunting. When I go bear hunting, I'm gone for 3 to 5 days. And so he's in charge of the kids, getting them to school, meals, bath time, the whole deal. So I'm very, very lucky that I can go out and do these hunting things, and he stays home.
Now, bear hunting, is that with a bow or with a rifle?
Rifle. People absolutely do it with a bow. I haven't gotten to that point yet, so I'm rifle hunting them.
Why not?
I just need to practice. It's a mental thing. It goes back to the mental thing. And I'm not confident enough yet to know that when I let go of that arrow, it's going to make the shot that I want it to make. So I just need to keep practicing and getting my confidence up a little bit. But I know I'm good with the rifle. You're
baiting bear, right?
Yes.
And so if done right, I've been fortunate to take them both with my bow and rifle, and that was that. And the bear I shot it right through the heart. And so it didn't go far. It was kind of eerie when he moaned. I mean, I have to tell you that. It was extremely eerie. So we had a referendum here in 2014 against the Humane Society of the United States. And they wanted to remove all bear hunting methods. And we won. We won twice in 10 years to keep our bear methods, the hunting methods that we have. So in Maine, you can trap, you can hunt over bait, you can still hunt, and you can use hounds. And so when I was writing about the referendum and bear hunting, I wanted to be able to actually have some firsthand experience. And so I had a friend of mine teach me how to bait, how to get the barrels all set up, how to go out to a bait. I sat over bait. I didn't see a single bear. And so I actually went out with a couple guys who have hounds, and that's how I shot both my bears. So you're running the bear? Yeah. Now that's going to be interesting because is the bear running when you shoot him, or is he at bay? I have been very lucky that both of my bears have gone up trees. And so I've shot them in the tree. Okay. That is fortunate. Yes. It's phenomenal. Watching those dogs work is incredible. And watching the guide watch those dogs on the GPS and be able to tell you why which dog is in which location and the sounds that they make when they've treated a bear versus when they're chasing a bear. I mean, it's phenomenal. I love it. Yeah, it is exciting. There's no question about it, especially with the GPS and everything, because one, the guides know what they're doing, plus they know their dogs. And every little sound means something. Yeah, the dogs are so passionate about it and they're so excited. You know, it was such an incredible experience. It was the first bear I shot was the only hunt so far that I have actually cried over. You know, not full on blubbering, but I was emotional about it because I had learned how to bait, all the time and energy that goes into having a successful bear hunt. And then all the time and energy and training and dollars that the guide had to put into the dogs so that they could go out and get me a bear. I was surprised, but I was very emotional about it. Good for you. Talk to me about bear meat versus venison. This is something that a lot of people don't talk about, but a lot of bears are shot. And I don't know if it's as revered as venison. I think personally it should be. So let's talk about that. I will take a bear meat over deer meat any day of the week. I liken it to really rich beef. If people don't like it, they say that it's greasy or that it's too gamey. I think if that's the case, then it's either been butchered wrong or it's been cooked wrong. I make a point of making like a bear chili, and then I will share it with my neighbors. I will share it with coworkers. I've brought it into my Rotary Club because I want people to understand that we're not just out hunting bear to hunt them, but that they are delicious.
They are it's so good. I love it.
So let's talk about your favorite recipes. We just mentioned chili. So you got a bear chili going on. What else?
I will do like a roast and sort of slow cook it. And you put some delicious spices. The thing with bear is that you have to treat it like pork because you could get trichinosis. So you just have to make sure that you're thoroughly cooking it. So figuring out ways that work for you to ensure that it's cooked, but not so dried out that it's disgusting.
So how do you prepare it the best? Now, you go and field dress and skin the bear, correct?
Mm-hmm. And then get as much fat off as you can because that will start to leak into the bear meat.
Okay. Do you render the fat?
I have not yet, but I know a lot of people that do.
And then you get the skull and then you have the hide. So we have a lot of parts that are trophy parts. I know people that just boil the skull out and that's what they have. I know other people that have head in bear hides. And then the people that really know how to take care of and spending time preparing the bear meat.
Yeah. So my first bear that I shot during the year of the referendum, I had the skull done and I had a actual bear rug. The average bear taken in the state of Maine is about 120 to 150 pounds. Mine was 457 pounds.
Whoa.
I know. Ridiculous. So my bear rug is in my office and my kids actually sit on it and listen to books on tape. So it's like this huge area rug that happens to have claws and a head.
That's a good sized bear anywhere. In Colorado, we have huge bears because one, we don't really hunt them.
Right.
We lost our referendum. We can't bait them, can't run dogs. It's just what it is. Not right. And we're DNR's missing out on revenue, but
absolutely,
I'm not going to change that. Somebody down the road may, but this person isn't. Right. Having said all that, you encapsulate this and then you sit down and put words to pen, words to computer and start your blog. And a strong cup of coffee is well known, is out there, and you've done a lot of different things with that. Where's your motivation to do a blog on a continual basis?
It has definitely been a commitment. And you can actually, if you look at my archive, you can tell when I've had children because it sort of drops off and then it comes back up. It's wanting to share my experiences. It's wanting to archive them so that my kids can always access them and go back and say, oh yeah, this is what mom did before I was born. Or when I was 1, I shot deer when I was pregnant with both of my kids. So that story's up there with those pictures. So for me, it's just sort of a way to chronicle what I've been doing, the emotion behind what I've been doing, and to hopefully help others to say, oh yeah, I should go buy that outdoor gear, or I should be able to be confident to go do X. Or if she can overcome her fear of snakes and go fishing, so can I. So just any of these little things that might make other women feel that it's okay to go try new things.
Yeah, I like that. My background, you wrote an article, Why We Hunt, and actually I posted it on your Facebook thing, podcast we did 6-8 months ago with a panelist across the country, Why We Hunt. Why'd you write that article?
I think a lot of people think that we're doing it to be horrible or we're doing it to just go out and kill something, and that it's not women who are introducing organic meat into their families or thinking about population control. There's so many other levels to it that I think non-hunters or even anti-hunters don't necessarily know what a hunter looks like nowadays. And so getting folks to realize that, when I'm paying a lot of money to go out and do this, which is helping conservation efforts. I'm bringing home organic meat for my family, for my kids, and, I'm helping the population. I'm keeping the population in check, making sure that from a biological standpoint, everything's all good. There's something about being out in the woods. And I think only hunters really understand this. When you're out and it's dark and you're watching the sun come up in the woods and you're hearing those first birds chirp, there's something magical. It's almost Zen-like, when you're out in the woods and you're able to witness all of this stuff without the animals knowing that you're there. It's phenomenal. And so getting people to understand that it's more than just squeezing the trigger.
Thank you for that. Talked about the hunting tradition. We talked about your blog. What's next for Erin?
I have my hands in lots of pots. Conservation stuff, more writing, getting more women to be in the outdoors. I want to do more. I still have some things on my hit list. getting into fishing more, getting into trapping more, and then getting my kids to appreciate that and understand where their food comes from.
When we started off, I mentioned someplace along the line and I'd asked you, what's your one big thing that you know today that you wish you knew 5 years ago?
Not to buy into the imposter syndrome, not to think that because I don't have a million people following me on Instagram or because I don't have these huge numbers of people following me. And so I think if I could go back 10 years when I was starting my blog and say, you know, everything that you're writing has a purpose and it's going to evolve into so much more, that's what I would sort of go back and think about. You're not an imposter, that you have every right to be out there and sharing your experiences and just the overall passion for what we're doing.
Yeah, a guy told me, Bruce, just get started. And then Craig Boddington, one of his key phrases is die first, then quit. Get started. But my message, simply to echo what Erin said, is just if you're passionate about something in the outdoors, get started doing it, whatever that looks like for you.
Because there's a whole bunch of us that are just as passionate that are going to welcome you into our tribe.
Yep. And it's a matter of the like discussions that we're having here, and thousands of people will listen to this podcast down the road, and they'll realize that Erin and I are completely no different than you guys. And we're passionate about what we do. We want to share it, and we want to welcome you to, as I say, to the campfire. Welcome you to sit down and be who you are and share what you know. So having said that, do you have any last words you want to share with the listeners, Erin?
Just reach out if they have any questions, either to me or, like you said, to anyone who does this for a living. There are always resources out there. And so if you're interested in getting more information about how do you become an outdoor woman program, how do you get into deer hunting? You know, one of the coolest things that I take my kids out and do is just, let's go look for animals. You know, you can tell what a turkey track looks like in the snow or a deer track. And how recently did the deer walk by compared to the snow? So all these little things are key learning tools to get more and more interested in the outdoors. But I think we're a welcoming group. And so anyone that wants to be a hunter, a trapper, a fisherman, just reach out, because there are tons of us that are willing to help and just keep adding more and more people to the things that we love to do.
And how does somebody reach out to you?
Like you said, I'm on Instagram and it's at Woods and Coffee. I'm on Facebook for And a Strong Cup of Coffee, and my blog, And a Strong Cup of Coffee, has my email that you can reach out to me at.
Erin, you've just been an absolute joy, and I've looked forward to having this interview, and it's great to just sit and chit chat and touch on a lot of things, because people do have questions, and it's people like you that are so welcoming and so real that make this show successful. So again, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thanks for joining us. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous, where you can listen and learn from the experts so you can be more successful on your next hunt. Until next time, listen, learn, and succeed.